Now we're going to consider forces. Forces are a vector quantity. By this, we mean they have direction and they have magnitude. Do not assume that when you're given a diagram that the vectors drawn on the diagram, the forces drawn on the diagram, are to scale. Throughout this unit, we're going to be using the resultant force. The resultant force means the sum of all the vectors acting on a particular particle. So when you add all these vector forces together, the result is the resultant force. When we're looking at questions in specialist maths, we will usually resolve the forces, that is, break it down in components that are parallel and perpendicular to a plane. The plane may be horizontal or the plane may be part of a slope. When we do this, we look at the parts that are parallel to the plane being done in terms of vector I, the unit vector I, and the parts that are perpendicular to the plane we use in terms of the unit vector J. There are a number of terms that you will come across, so you need to look out for these things in questions. For instance, if the word is used like a light body or a light string, it means that object has no mass. If the word smooth surface or something similar is used within a question, it means there are no frictional forces that are being exerted on the body. Whereas, if it talks about a rough surface, it means that there is friction involved. When we're looking at ropes and we come across the word inextensible or taut, it simply means that the strings or ropes don't get stretched. When we look at bodies that are rigid, it means that objects don't change their shape when forces are applied to them. And if we come across the expression perfectly elastic, it means that applied forces do not permanently deform an object, such as a spring. You stretch out a spring and you let go, it will return to its previous shape. When we are looking at the forces, we can, as said above, look at using the unit vectors I, J, and K, but sometimes you'll use their size or direction of the vectors and use the cosine rule or the sine rule.